TikTok is crushing it. Yeah, I pulled my ads off every other platform. I'm only on TikTok because it's just like the ROI on TikTok is insane. Like we're talking Facebook ads at its peak when it was printing like, 22-year-old millionaires. Oh yeah. My ROAS is insane. Like it's just not, I look at it and I go, I don't believe it. I don't believe that something that I spend so little money on in the grand scheme of things has such an outsized impact. I used to be like, the content king. Like that was my big pitch for people. And so I really focused a lot of effort on that. But the problem was that the sales tail on that is way too long. It takes too long for content marketing to work for most small businesses. The problem was he came up with that concept in 2008, and the world has shifted dramatically. Back then, there wasn't a glut of content about all these small businesses, so you could really stand out by creating content. Now, everybody creates content, right? ChatGPT creates content. So that's no longer the differentiator. And in a more highly competitive world, ads just became like, that's actually how you grow. That's how you need to grow. Whether you are just starting out today or you are 30 years in the business, if you are not using a paid ad strategy, you are leaving money on the table.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now, let's get to it with today's guest. Hey, Digital Trailblazers, it's Leah Ray Getz with digitaltrailblazer.com, and welcome to the podcast. I'm super excited to have with us Drew Donaldson. Drew, go ahead and introduce yourself and let our audience know what you're all about.
So my name is Drew Donaldson. I started a company called GroHaus that focuses on small and medium-sized businesses, helping them really grow, even if they don't have the time or money to master all the marketing fundamentals. So we really focus only on ROI generating activities, and that really means, for most part, sales and leads. So our approach is a little bit different than the big agencies out there, but we found a lot of success, and that's my story.
That's awesome. So how did you get here? Because I can't imagine that's where you started.
No, actually, I went to school for like film and television, and the way I fell into marketing was because I couldn't grow my production company. So I started a production company. I was having such a hard time recruiting clients. I would get clients and we do these great work and win awards, and like everything was, cat's pajamas. And then like I'd go on a dry spell for 3 months where I couldn't book a single job. Meanwhile, there's, videography crews that are booking, they do a wedding on the weekend and then book commercial work during the week. And I'm like, these guys, I wouldn't even hire them to do my wedding. And yet they are booked consistently by these big brands. I was like, there has to be something different about the way they're doing it that I'm doing it. I figured it must be marketing. That's the only variable here that makes sense. And so I really dove into it, and I ended up loving marketing a lot more than I loved production. And so I, quickly kind of saw like, hey, I could make a better living doing this. I'm more interested. It's better kind of suited to my skill set. And so I shut down that business and started transitioning into marketing as a consultant first. This is kind of back when corporations were first starting to do their own video. And so I fell in with a university and helped them build an internal marketing department, and then moved on to corporate America as a consultant for a number of years before starting this business.
So what, the types of things that you offer, has it shifted a lot over the years from, sounds like maybe more video based to?
Oh yeah. Software? I mean, I used to be like, the content king. Like that was my big pitch for people. And this is this is dawn of YouTube business, for YouTube for business, Facebook business pages, that kind of thing. And I was like, it's all about the content you put out there, right? You can run great ads, but if people come to your page and they don't see what your restaurant looks like, or they don't see that you're a thought leader, they don't see And so I really focused a lot of effort on that. But the problem was that the sales tail on that is way too long. It takes too long for content marketing to work for most small businesses. And that's really why, Marcus Sheridan's a mentor of mine. He's, kind of known as the king of content marketing. He was the first one. He wrote, they ask you answer. And he really was a foundational figure in content marketing for small and local businesses. The problem was he came up with that concept in 2008, and the world has shifted dramatically. Now we have back then there wasn't a glut of content about all these small businesses, so you could really stand out by creating content. Now everybody creates content, right? ChatGPT creates content. So that's no longer the differentiator. And in a more highly competitive world, ads just became like, that's actually how you grow. That's how you need to grow. Whether you are just starting out today or you are 30 years in the business, if you are not using a paid ad strategy, you are leaving money on the table. And so that's really what became our focus, was helping people realign their offers to make them more money, make sure their pricing and positioning is correct, helping them produce ads that convert, and then helping their sales teams close more deals.
I've echoed very similar things to people as well. And that if you're not leveraging paid ads, you're missing people who are out there looking for you, and somebody else is marketing to them with paid ads.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I love content marketing. I think it's amazing. It's a great long-term plan, but I feel like they really should go hand in hand for folks that, it makes sense to build up that long-term play strategy, but get the immediate sales coming through with some paid advertising.
Yeah, because a lot of businesses cannot afford to go 6-9 months spending money on marketing and not seeing a return. There's plenty out there that will. There, as proof of corporate America, like burning through marketing dollars like crazy. But the reality is most businesses out there are not in a position, at least nowadays, where, oh yeah, give us 60 grand and in 12 months we'll show some returns. It's like, no, like you got 30 days, 30 days. Yeah. Show me what you're worth.
Yeah, absolutely. So what types of customers, or who are your clients in particular?
So we focus primarily on high ticket coaches and consultants and high ticket home service businesses. So I'm really not an e-com guy. I'm not a D2C guy. I really like this service-based business model. SaaS kind of falls in there. We've worked with a lot of like app companies and software companies, high-tech companies. So there is a couple of those that sneak in here and there, but we've really narrowed it down to those two people. For our agency model, and then for our coaching business, we start with coaches that are on the way up, people that are coaches and consultants who, maybe they're just leaving their current job and they're trying to put their first offer together. And so we really use that as an accelerator program to get them to the high ticket level where we can serve them as an agency.
So what were some of the biggest challenges or hurdles that you've had to overcome in building this?
A lot. When we first started, we started right before the pandemic hit. So, I spent a year just talking to businesses knowing that I wasn't going to sell anything to anybody. Luckily, I was on the last leg of a consulting gig, so I would have my bills paid and I was busy. But, I really, by the end of that year, it was only because 2 other agency owners that were launching a competing firm reached out to me and said, hey, why don't we team up? That I ever even really considered going this direction. Because after being, kind of beaten down over 2020, I was like, oh, listen, I just need something stable. So I was interviewing for CMO jobs and VP of marketing jobs and director of marketing. Like that's kind of where my head was at. And when these 2 guys kind of showed up and said, hey, why don't you run this thing with us? I was like, yeah, why not? If someone else is going to kind of pay the first couple months bills and give me some runway to get this thing off the ground, like that seems like a pretty good deal. So we did not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but we ran the business together for the first year. And then in year 2, they said, hey, we want to move on to other things, buy us out. So we did. So, there was that kind of hurdle to jump through of raising money and everything. And then just a couple months later, my wife gave birth to our first daughter, and I planned to take some time off. And when I sent out the email announcing like, hey, my daughter's here, like we're all happy, I'm going to take some time off to be with them, about 80% of my customers left. And because they saw it as like, oh, well, if he's not at the wheel anymore, we better move on to some, have someone that's going to have more of their attention. And like, in a moment like that, you really figure out who your friends are. But no, I mean, I don't blame them. Like, if my marketer suddenly came to me and said, hey, I'm going to be gone for the next 6 weeks, like, yeah, but we rebuilt. Every time, we have such a strong program and such a strong track record that it's just a matter of getting in front of more people, and then we get them signed up and through the system, they see success and self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's awesome. So what do you feel like is working really well today?
TikTok is crushing it. Yeah, I pulled my ads off every other platform. I'm only on TikTok because it's just like the ROI on TikTok is insane. Like we're talking Facebook ads at its peak when it was printing 22-year-old millionaires. Oh yeah, my ROAS is insane. Like it's just not. I look at it and I go, I don't believe it. I don't believe that something that I spend so little money on in the grand scheme of things has such an outsized impact. And I mean, I'm not like a $1.10 ad budget guy. Like I do spend a decent amount in the grand scheme of things, but for the results I get from it, it's just absurd how cheap it is. They could charge, just to give you an idea, they could like quadruple their prices and it would still make sense for me to be on that platform with how much business I'm pulling in. Like, wow. There's just no other platform out there like it.
That's interesting to hear because we haven't played in the paid ad side of TikTok yet. So we've been on Facebook ads forever and a day, back when they were easy and then they got harder and all that kind of stuff. I've had friends or people that have played with it and said it worked out, but then they couldn't show the numbers backing it up. So I'm really curious to hear what's lay it on us. Like, how is TikTok ads working? What strategies are working? Break down the numbers, the whole thing.
So essentially the thing you have to understand about TikTok is that authenticity is the name of the game there, right? People don't like ads on that platform, right? They are ad haters. And so if your ad looks like an ad, it's going to get skipped. It's not going to get traction. And that is something that is very different from the Facebook advertising mindset, where it's okay to look like an ad because, oh yeah, I'm going to scroll through and it's going to be pictures of my friend's baby. And then I'm going to get an ad and it might be of something I'm interested in. And then I'm going to keep scrolling. TikTok's not like that. If they and just look at the commentary on when they release TikTok Shop and how many people hate all the small businesses doing TikTok Shop. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's just ad after ad after ad. People really don't like it. So what you have to do is you have to create ads that don't feel like ads, which is so counterintuitive to most marketers. Most marketers don't understand how to even start thinking about that. And so I just recorded one today for another business I own. And as I'm going through the script, I'm identifying those phrases that as marketers, we all use that are such dead giveaways that it's an ad, and I'm removing them one by one by one. Because if it's like that was until I found out about X, right? Take that out of your vocabulary. It's not going to work on TikTok, right? Are you tired of blank? Take it out. No, it's not going to work. Everything, you can still deliver that message, but it has to be conversational. It has to be authentic because that's what's going to get people to listen to enough of your ad. The other thing is I see a lot of people who are like, oh, you have to do 15-second ads. That's the attention span is so short. If it's over 30, it's a waste of money. My ads run from a minute 20 to a minute 90. I've never had that issue. And the reason is because you have to write compelling content. You can't just phone it in. You can't use templates. You have to be unique and creative and authentic in how you approach this stuff. And when you do, the thing pays dividends like crazy. I can pull up here in a second. I'll just give you the numbers of what my campaign's done over lifetime. And just to give you an idea of how effective it is, I have to regularly turn it off because my calendar gets too full. So right now I'm booked through mid to end of February. So I had to turn off my ads yesterday because there's just no space on my calendar. And I don't want to book people out 4 weeks ahead of time because then my show up rate goes down and no one loves that. So it's one of those things that when you hit it right, you don't want to. Usually what we've found is 10 days is the maximum for we call it a call booker funnel. So really to get someone from our ad to book the call, if you give them more than 10 days, your show up rate's not great. It goes down pretty significantly after the 10-day mark. So just to give you some context, I launched this the week before Thanksgiving, or the couple days before Thanksgiving, not last year, but the year before. So it's been a year and 2 months, I guess, since we first launched it, and we have not changed the creative. It's the same exact ad that we launched with, just to show you the staying power, like this stuff. And I do cycle it. Like I usually keep it on for like 60 days. I turn it off for 30, something like that. But like we've spent in total around $7,300 on this campaign in that period of time. And we've generated 364 meetings from that spend. But it's essentially like a 0.67 click-through rate. And what we found on TikTok is really any ad that gets 0.5 or better is going to be a winner, at least if you get it within the first 4 to 10 days. So when you run an ad, you say, all right, it's day 5 and I'm at a 0.34. Good likelihood that ad is going to be a dog, and you might as well just kill it. Like it's not going to perform for you. But if in those first 4 or 5 days it peaks up around like 0.6 or 0.5, there's a good chance it's going to continue going up. And then you just got to wait for it to kind of sell. So the click-through rate is a bit different than a place like Facebook, where like a 0.6 might be looked at as like, that kind of sucks. It's like 0.5 is great. That's really all you need. 0.5, you will make money hand over fist doing that. And then like all of my conversion metrics in terms of cost, it's pretty much the same as like what you get on Facebook. So like I paid $20 a lead, or $20 a meeting rather, for that.
I say in this space, $20 a booked appointment is very good.
Yeah. And my show up rate's like 80%, probably 80, 90%.
That's what I was that was my next question, because we've seen a lot of people struggling. Like even if they're getting a book a call funnel working off of Facebook ads, that the show up rate's like 10% tops. Like it's really tanked a lot recently.
So that's part of the problem is Facebook. Facebook just has a trash audience now. Like it's just not a good place to advertise. Like I tell everybody, like, get off of the platform. Like the only reason to be on the platform is if you can't afford TikTok, because TikTok is like, they have minimums on TikTok that are much like 10x what they are on Facebook, because they don't want a lot of advertisers on the platform. They only want the best advertisers on the platform. So all of those people that aren't really good, they're going to do low quality ads because they only have like a $5 a day budget. TikTok's like, nah, take it to Facebook. Like we're not interested in that. But if you can spend at least $20 a day, like you can play in TikTok, and the quality of the audience is just so much better. Part of that is because of who the ads are served to, because they use AI to serve the ads as opposed to using targeting. Well, they actually use a combination now. They used to just use AI, but now it's kind of a little bit of like AI and then a filter level in TikTok. So that's a big difference. The other thing that I see with show up rate, and I had this issue too, even when I first was on TikTok, is I was having show up rate issues. And the one thing I did to change that was I have an intensive pre-call sequence that starts with a video that they come to. As soon as they book the call, they get to see a video where I walk them through. I make a personal connection with them. Below that video is a bunch of testimonials so that they like see that like I'm the real deal. I immediately, within 5 minutes of them booking, within seconds really of them booking, they get a text message that's personalized from me. And that happens like round the clock. So it feels like a very personal connection. And my response rate to that is absurd. Like the number of people that like text me back from that, it because it looks personal, it looks like I really wrote it. It doesn't feel like stock or like your appointment has been confirmed. Like I don't do any of that. It's like essentially like, hey, I'm really excited to get to know you and that kind of stuff. So then after that, I have the same like calendar reminder sequence most people do. I just make sure I actually set all of those touch points up so that by the time they show up, I've touched them about 10 times by the time they get to the meeting. So that right there changed my like ratio, like flipped it on its head. Like I went from like 20% of people showing up to 80% showing up just because I put that automation in place.
Okay, that's good. So do you do a discovery call first and then a sales call once they're qualified, or you can move right into the sales call?
So over the past couple of weeks, we've been realigning some of our offers and repricing stuff. So we've been doing a lot of 2-call closes, but we really do like, we're 1-call close and we do high get 1-call closes. So even though we have some of the coaching programs that are lower ticket and you'd expect like, okay, yeah, those should all be like 1-call closes, we do that for even high ticket stuff. So we just have a really good sales system in place to, you know, in the span of 45 minutes, we can get our discovery done. We can give them some value and show them that we know what we're talking about, and then deliver a pitch that perfectly meets their needs. assuming they're the right fit, right? People come through all the time that it's just like, you're not really good for either of these programs. Like you're doing something totally different, and here's what I would do, here's who I would call. But as long as they're a good fit for our program, we usually can get them closed in that first call.
I like the discovery call process, or at least how we set it up with our team, for the fact that making sure they're a good fit before they take up a bigger block on the calendar.
I mean, I get it all done in 45 minutes. So it's more efficient, right? If I can just do it in 45. Yeah, because I mean, like if I was going to be pitching to like someone like Coca-Cola, where like I need to have like do a lot of research and put a bunch of like, I used to work in the ad world. Pfizer used to be one of my clients. So like I know how those pitches need to be handled and how much effort has to go into it. That's not what we're doing here, right? Our program is a 90-day program that you come in, we fix your offer, we fix your ads, we make some money for you. And then you decide, hey, I think we want to keep these guys around, or you know what, it worked, I'm good. I'm just gonna, take what they taught me, take what they built for me and do it on my own. So because it's high ticket, but it's not a big commitment, we don't really get a lot of pushback on that. And if at the end of our discovery portion of that call, which only takes like 10 or 15 minutes, if I feel like they're not going to be a good fit for this, I'll just like kindly say like, I think based on all this stuff, I don't think we're going to be the right agency for you, but here's someone else you can call, or, that kind of thing. So,
gotcha.
I think that having expanded discovery makes sense if you have to do a lot of research, a lot of prep work, if it's a multi-million-dollar deal. But if you're selling, anywhere like up to like 10K monthly commitments, you really can do it in a single call if you're good enough. Not saying that you won't need to do a follow-up call later, especially if it's getting close to like, 6, 7, 8, 9K, but there's plenty of people out there that if they like what you're presenting, they'll close on the first call. Like they're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do one call, and then we built up our sales team, and now I have a setter who really qualifies them ahead of time, makes sure they're qualified and protects the closer calendar, if you will, to make sure that they're only taking up time on the calendar when they are a good fit, so that we can have a high volume. I know that I liked it when I did it one call, and I know that I like it now. So
I mean, there's no wrong answer. It's just like,
yeah.
I tried doing a setter. The problem was I thought when I would listen to calls back, I think the setter would make like easy misses in miscategorizing clients, or they would like initially they wouldn't go down rabbit holes that I would have gone down with them, that would have built some rapport, built some trust. And what I found doing them is I ended up just redoing the discovery process on each call. And then I'm like, well, what am I paying the setter for? Like if I'm redoing everything from the start anyway, all I'm really doing is siphoning out the 1 or 2% of people that truly aren't good fits. And honestly, I'd just rather meet with them. Like I met with a person 2 weeks ago who was interested. She had no business being in my funnel, just no business whatsoever. And she was a very nice young woman. I like her a lot. I'm going to reach back out to her to see if what I told her to do, if she actually followed through and made some progress. But she didn't have a business. She wasn't a high ticket consultant. Like she was just getting started. She didn't even want to be a consultant. We had a conversation, and really all she wanted to do was get over her fear of being on camera. Like I liked having that conversation. I helped her get over her fear. I hope I did. Like, right, I told her like, well, here's how I teach people how to get over being afraid on camera, because I used to be afraid of being on camera, and here's what you have to do. And so like, it's those kind of calls that like, yeah, did I make any money on that? No. Will I make any money? No. I don't really care about that though, because I got to help somebody, and that's why I started this business in the first place. So, yeah, I have to spend some time, and I have some people blow me off, and there's definitely value in having a setter when you have a much higher sales volume than I can take on. But right now, I have the time. I like talking to people. I'm the best closer in my business, so it just makes more sense for me to just do it. So that's kind of my perspective on it.
Yeah, it does. It is a big commitment to take on, to build up your sales team, because it is constant call reviews and training and teaching and role playing and everything else for them to really, really get good. And it's a really big commitment to that process and in investment into them and finding the right person. And it's a whole ball game in and of itself. So I completely see the appeal of just doing it all yourself, because I've done it and I totally feel that. So When you talk about the ads that are working on TikTok, you said, very conversational and authentic, but what would walk us through what an ad would look like on TikTok for someone who's never, they're completely new to TikTok. They maybe scrolled a couple times on TikTok and that's it. What would a great ad look like?
So, I mean, the first thing, and again, remember, I'm going to mention these things, but you can't templatize this stuff, right? So there's going to be times where you break the rules. If you see my ad, you're listing off all the things that I say have in here. They're like, well, those aren't in order. Like he went from here back to the top. So like the elements I'll give you are pretty simple. The first thing is...
This episode is sponsored by ConvertPoint.io. If you're an online business owner and you're looking for a simple, low-cost, all-in-one platform to simplify, systematize, and automate your business, then look no further. ConvertPoint has everything you need to build a successful online business. Funnels, websites, email autoresponders, text message marketing, invoices, sales pages, calendars, forms, and surveys, social media management, membership sites and courses, automated workflows, and so much more. Now, not only that, but you also get access to free marketing courses. So you will learn how to actually use these tools to generate leads and make sales. You'll get courses on things like funnel building, on lead generation, copywriting, content creation, paid ads, and more. Plus, you'll get weekly live support directly from us so that you can ask questions and get personalized help to build your business. We'll help you to build your funnels, write your emails, create your ads. Whatever questions you have about building your business, we'll be there to give you the answers you need live every single week. And the best part is that it all comes at one super affordable price. So head over to ConvertPoint.io to check it out. That's ConvertPoint.io to start your risk-free trial today.
The first thing is you need a call out to your audience. You need within the first couple of words to identify who are you talking to, pet owners, homeowners, people that need their taxes done, whoever, whatever. You need to have that within the first, second or two, so that people understand who this message is for. To give them the opportunity to scroll by, because we don't want people watching our ad if they're not a good fit. So we have that immediately. The next thing is that we need to dive into their pain. And this is the mistake I think most marketers make, is that they try immediately to go into, check out this shiny new toy, check out this shiny gizmo, check out this really cool thing, without addressing what is the pain point that you're trying to address with the shiny new thing. And so as soon as you show the pain, this is the other part everybody misses, you have to show empathy for that pain. You have to show them that you understand what they're going through. If they don't feel like you understand it, then they're not going to trust the solution that you give them. And so you have to bake empathy in. And this is really easy, using phrases like, I know it must feel like, right? Like, or I've been there. I went through that too. Here's my story. Like, all of those kind of things add not only to that level of authenticity, but also the feeling like, yeah, this person gets me. Like they understand what I'm going through. We're on the same level. Context is the next piece. They have to understand why they're listening to you in the first place. The first couple of moments, you've grabbed their attention, you've started building rapport with them over a shared pain, but now who are you? So you have to get into the context itself. Now, the next two are really kind of optional. So the first one is the service itself. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but if you go watch my TikTok ad right now, the one I just read off, I don't tell people what I do. I don't tell them what I'm going to do for them. I don't tell them what my service is. I don't tell them how to hire me. I don't tell them my rate. I don't tell them anything. And it works because I know from my perspective that all I have to do is position the right pain and the right testimonials, the right social proof, and I will get people through my funnel that need to be there, right? And so those two middle parts that I leave out, but some people will need them if you're doing like a paid workshop or if you're doing a retreat or something that it's a definite thing. It's not something that's going to be customized and there's a fixed price. Then the solution and the price need to be in there. For me, I jump straight to the next one, which is the social proof. 3 pieces of social proof is plenty. You don't need testimonials of people talking. You can just say, I did this. I took this person from here and took them there. You just do that 3 times and then you deliver the call to action and that's it. But you have to make all of that not sound like an ad, which is really hard for people. Because when you lay all those things out and you try to either chat GPT it or just okay, what is attention all business owners, immediately going to know it's an ad. So you can't say that. So how do you call attention to someone without doing the thing, that everybody else wants to do, because we're all marketers and we all speak the same language. So like, I'll give you an example. I just wrote this ad for a business and I said, as business owners, I think I can speak for us collectively that tax time is the worst time of the year, right? That could very well be an ad. It could very well just be a guy complaining about tax time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I called them out. Business owners perked up. Oh, he's speaking for us collectively. But it wasn't big flashing lights. Pay attention. This is an ad, that kind of thing.
Right.
So you have to be really clever about the way you write these and still have all of those elements play together.
Okay. So you shoot the video. Obviously, it's going to be a video type ad. And I find it interesting that you're calling out in the first few seconds, which reminds me of YouTube ads, right? Because you want them to keep swiping because you don't want to pay for people to watch the ad if it's not actually for them. So you've got the video ad. So what else is involved in setting up those ads then?
I mean, it's pretty much the same. Like, honestly, I don't even edit my own ads. I don't even edit them. Like, I just throw them up. Like, because again, if it's not edited, if I can do it all in one take, one, I get it up quicker. Two, it looks like a regular video. It doesn't look like an ad.
Okay. And you're shooting it on your phone.
Yeah. I actually did I did a workshop. I'm doing a sales workshop, and on Tuesdays at 2 on LinkedIn and Twitch and a bunch of other places, I live stream a behind the scenes of like what it's like to run an agency and like what I do. And so on Tuesday, I actually wrote and recorded the ad on live, so you can see like my whole process. It's very transparent. So if anyone's interested, that was 2 days ago. So it's the January 24th recording on my thing. So essentially, like I write it up. I put it in Big View, which is the teleprompter I use. Probably the best teleprompter out there. I'm a little biased on that, but because they just had me on as a speaker yesterday. But it is a really good app, and I just I write everything in Google Docs. I paste it in there. I record until I can get it in one take. And I don't even edit out me reaching for the stop button. Like, I leave all that stuff in there. And I take it and post it on TikTok. Once it's on TikTok, I link it up with my ad account, set up my targeting as you do, send it live. Like, and that's the thing. I think if you haven't played with ads on TikTok, it is going to shock you how much easier it is to set up like, it is ludicrously simple compared to Facebook. Like, it's like the easy button of life. Moving from Facebook to TikTok ads.
Interesting. So have you run into certain audiences that are just not on TikTok very much, or it's not playing well on TikTok, or Facebook has turned up better? I'm thinking older people or anything like that.
No, actually, the average age of people that come through my funnel are 50. It's like 45 to 50 years old. I had a 71-year-old come through last week. So no. It is not an age thing. Like, don't think that TikTok is a young man's game, because there are plenty of boomers on that app that have lots of money to spend with you, and they are more than happy to sit down for an hour and hear about your services. In fact, I will say Gen X and boomers are way easier to work with, just in terms of because they're willing to learn. They're willing to kind of admit that they don't know everything. When I get a lot of younger entrepreneurs in, a lot of times it's just harder to convince them that they need help in the first place, because if I'm saying, well, listen, I can coach you through this, I've done this before, they're like, yeah, but I could like learn all that on YouTube. I'm like, all right, go try. Like, a couple of years when you're struggling, you'll come back. It's fine. So like, I would not shy away from that audience at all. But what I will say is that we found two distinct areas that really we found a lot of negative feedback on. So the first is men's coaches. And there's a lot of men's coaches on TikTok that advertise, and I've been dying to reach out to some to see if they have the same issue. But if you run like a masculine male coach, male mastermind, the hate that you get, not from women, from men, is insane. It was the weirdest thing. We launched this campaign, and we launched multiple for this client. We did one after another, and every single one, negative response. And he's a nice guy. He's trying to help people get their marriages back together. Like, he's not like, like this super alpha male, like, go live in the woods in a tent for 10 months. Like, he's nothing that you could make fun of. He's just a nice guy that's trying to help people get their relationships in order. And like, the hate and vitriol he got was astounding. The other group that I warn everybody about is if you are trying to say anything against the video game crowd. So if you're trying to say that video games are addictive or that you shouldn't, play video games or anything, because we had a client who one of his focus was digital addictions. So granted, listen, if you enjoy video games, play video games, but there is a time when that becomes an addiction, right? Like we've all heard the stories of people spending thousands of dollars on these things when they didn't have it and going into debt because of Candy Crush. Like that's an addiction. So we put out an ad for him that was just saying like, listen, is your child suffering from an addiction to video games? We can help. We've helped other kids get out of this. Oh boy, you do not want to go up against the video game lobby. They came for his head. Again, it's just the vitriol, and we even tried. So we were like, okay, he's kind of a guy in his I'm gonna guess like 40s or 50s. Maybe he's just not the right messenger. We'll put a mom in. So we recruited a mom, sweet as apple pie. You can't say anything bad about her. She's not like someone that has a particular look that you could like point to and be like, oh, she looks weird, anything. Just totally normal mom. And she delivers this very sweet message that's like, listen, I know you care about your kids and you're probably worried about video games. If you need help, we're here. Even more hate. She got worse than he got. And it's the same people every time. It's people, I play video games 14 hours a day. I'm not an addict. It's like, okay. Really? And it's just that over and over. So what we've learned is that the only two groups that we've ever run ads for that has struggled are male coaches and anything against the video game, anything against digital addictions. Very, very hard audience to crack.
That is very interesting. I wouldn't have guessed the male thing. I could see the video game thing a little bit because they're clearly addicted to electronics and on TikTok all the time as well. And they felt a little called out, maybe.
Of course. Yeah. And that is one of the challenges with how TikTok serves ads, is that once people start engaging with it, it gets shown to more people like them. So it ends up in this doom spiral. But that was less surprising, because after I looked at it, I was like, okay, yeah, for that reason, right? Like, you're calling out people with an addiction. They're going to have a negative response. The male coach and a men attacking a male coach, that blew me away. I was just like, because when we first put it up, I was like, worst case scenario, some disgruntled ex-wives who's, don't need a husband anymore. Like, those are going to be we had none of those. It was all like, Chad from Wisconsin going like, what kind of doofus needs a male coach? And it's like, I don't know, man, not you clearly, but like someone out there needs it.
Or maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe. But like, yeah, it's those were two that I just still to this day perplex me how much hate we got on them. But every other campaign we've run, we've had a really strong support and people commenting and liking and sharing, and yeah, just those two.
Interesting, because I've played with TikTok from an organic perspective, and I'm used to going live on Facebook and YouTube and different places all the time. And going live on TikTok was a very different experience, because on Facebook and YouTube, like, it's your people that see you, and they're nice and they like you because they're your people. And on TikTok, it's random people that I have no idea what, and they're saying things that I don't even know if it's an insult or something nasty or something like, and I'm just like trying not to read the comments. TikTok is a little Wild West-ish in a way.
Yeah, but it's also, if you live stream, it's the only platform that gives you that kind of organic reach. Like, yeah.
I mean, tons of people who never saw me before were absolutely seeing me because it definitely wasn't my people saying this.
So one of my clients is a grief coach, and one of the things I told her was like, your TikTok videos do really well. You should start going live once a day. And the thing took off like wildfire. And now, like, when she was sick one day, and so she didn't do it, she had like tons of emails like, oh my gosh, are you going live? Like, I really could use your support today. So like, once you start doing it and you find your audience there, they do congregate against you. But I think, yeah, you're always going to get like weirdos in the chat. Like, you're never going to escape that with live stream. I had, every once in a while, and like people, it's not that like we never get like mean comments. Like, I had one person like call me Kermit the Frog in a very roundabout sort of way. And I was like, I think that's genuinely the meanest insult anyone's ever used against me. Like,
well, people like Kermit though. He's a good.
Well, that's the whole thing. I forget what the comment was. It was something like, okay, now can you sing It's Not Easy Being Green? And I commented back and I was like, are you trying to call me Kermit the Frog? And I forget we had a little like back and forth there. But then like you get the regular comments. Like I got one the other day that was like, this guy is so boring. So, well, but it's engagement. And you know what? As long as the positive is outweighing the negative, like you just learn to roll with it,
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to clarify, you're running the video ad, and then when they click the button or whatever they're doing, it's taking them to a video, or is it taking them directly to a calendar link, or what happens?
Just to a calendar. Yeah, we capture a couple pieces of information. Or we run lead ads, so we capture the information first and foremost to make sure we're getting our money's worth, and then they go over to the calendar and book time.
Okay. So, and then is there a questionnaire on the back end or anything?
You know what? I used to have the questionnaire, but it didn't really lower the engagement rate. Like it didn't lower the number of people. And what would end up happening is people would, I found myself a lot of times when I would come into somebody, I would have like one of the choices was like, are you interested in learning more about marketing? Or are you interested in like having someone do the marketing for you? And so like so often someone would like click one of those or the other. And so I would kind of come into the call like already pre-framed to talk about like the coaching program and the agency. And then like the person who was wanting to learn about marketing is running an 8-figure business and like actually just needs someone to run it. And the person that clicks, they want to do something for me. They don't have 2 nickels to rub together. And so like now I'm kind of like, okay, well, let me backtrack. So I took them off, and I just don't get, and maybe this is because of how great TikTok has been, we just don't get a lot of trash like we got on Facebook. And I don't mean trash like those people are trash. I mean, just people in the funnel that aren't responsive, aren't meant for it, send you back a mean text like, who the heck is this? How did you get my number? Like you just don't really get those folks. Every once in a while, some people will come in like that, but generally you just don't get the noise like you do on Facebook. So we really haven't had to do that kind of like pre-screening to make it work.
So if people want to learn more about you, want to learn more about this whole TikTok ad thing, where do they find you?
So you can find us at GroHaus.org. That's GROHAUS.org. Like I said, I live stream every Tuesday from 2:00 to around like 3:30. It's like 90 minutes and Eastern time. And so you can check us out. I'm on Twitch and TikTok, or not TikTok yet, Twitch and Twitter, or X, and Facebook and LinkedIn. So wherever you enjoy watching streams, you can go and check me out and see how we're building this agency.
Awesome. And do you have a freebie for the audience?
I do. So we're actually running a giveaway right now. If you book a call with us between now and the end of February, and you decide to sign up for one of our coaching programs, if you're a coach or consultant and you're trying to grow your business, we'll actually be giving one person that signs up in the next, I guess, like 4 weeks or so here, free lifetime coaching access to us. We'll even refund your initial payment. So that is ending right at the end of February. It's just, every year we do one of these just to kind of give back. Last year, we had some absolutely incredible people join. And so this year, we're hoping to do the same.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Well, this has been so much fun. I love learning about new things and things that are really working. So I really appreciate your time. And I know our audience just took a lot of big nuggets out of this.
Well, it was a great interview, and I appreciate all the in-depth questions. It was fun.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.